Welcome into the RotoWire DFS show for Friday. No, today is Friday. For Saturday, a 4-game slate over at DraftKings May 10th. We have, I think it's a pretty fun slate, Ryan, on Saturday. 4-gamer. We're coming off. We had a 2-gamer Saturday, 3-gamer Sunday. This one we have Man City, but I don't think this is your Man City slates from 1 or 2 years ago. We actually have good pricing. So shouts to DraftKings. Shouts to DraftKings for the pricing on this slate because I think it's going to make this one a little more fun. But happy Friday, Ryan.
Yeah, happy Friday to you. And, a happier Friday than it could have been with the Man City Southampton slate. You're right. This is still a pretty interesting one. They did decent with the pricing, didn't make all the City guys too cheap. So you can't really just jam City. It is a great spot. Obviously, against Southampton, City have a massive total, 2.85. Most teams have been crushing Southampton recently, great for fantasy. We just saw Leicester last week, and pretty much every week. So there's other good spots too. Brentford's totals above 2 against Ipswich, and prices are kind of steep on the Brentford guys too. They'll probably be lower owned in tournaments, I'd assume. And then the 2 other games, especially Brighton Wolves, have decent fantasy players in it, and kind of a higher total than I might have expected. And then I don't know, people probably won't be on the Fulham Everton game, but I think it's an interesting slate. Yeah. And last King of the Pitch ticket up for grabs. Decent contest. Yeah, we already got a comment in the chat. Definitely gonna be a talking point. There's a bunch of set piece mids, but then you also have $3,800 Bernardo Silva. A little bit unfortunate. We'll talk about him when we get to midfield. So yeah, pretty interesting slate. Better than it could be for a City Southampton slate.
Yeah, rotowire.com/soccer. We got a bunch of stuff up. I also wrote a nice little article only for subscribers to be a subscriber. If you're not a subscriber yet, Roto15, ROTO15, 15% off RotoWire subscriptions. And then you can get into a Discord, rotowire.com/chat. And yeah, kind of what you're saying. I guess we can go through a few lineup nuggets here before we get going. There is a chance that Erling Haaland starts. We look at the goal odds here, -190 to score. He returned last week on the bench. He did not play, though. So that is why I'm led to believe he's not going to start because he didn't actually play last week. Probably wasn't 100%. He could still start. I really don't know why he would, but they've been playing well without him. And I guess you can look at it like, okay, they have the FA Cup final coming up, and maybe they want him for that and get him ready for that. So I think there is a slight chance he comes in here. And otherwise, the lineup notes, Strand Larson is a possibility back from injury. I think a big one, which we'll talk about, it has to be Ben Johnson. He's back from his suspension. So when he starts, he basically removes value from anyone else in Ipswich Town's team. If he doesn't start, then Enciso is going to be on set pieces. So that's going to be pretty relevant there because we're either going to play Enciso or we're not going to play Enciso if Ben Johnson starts. And then Andres Pereira. So Sasa Lukic is out. Andres Pereira wasn't in the squad. There hasn't really been a great update on what actually he's dealing with. So he could start, and he would take away value from Harry Wilson. But if he doesn't start, then Harry Wilson is in a pretty good spot. So those are the couple things that I think stand out in terms of just lineups before we get going. But otherwise, does anything else stand out that I'm missing here? That some little notes that we probably should.
I think you nailed it. I think you nailed everything except it appears that Enciso started taking over Ben Johnson.
He did
before, yeah. Which caught me out a little bit that week that he got the red. But
are you positive it wasn't he took these sets after Ben Johnson got the red?
No, I'm positive that Ben Johnson was on the pitch, and it even happened the week before. I think the week before Ben Johnson took 0, and Enciso took 2. At least if our numbers are right. So. Hopefully we don't have that worry, at least.
Yeah, actually, I remember the beginning of that Newcastle game. Actually, Ipswich were actually going for a goal. They're outplaying Newcastle at the beginning of the game. So yeah, those set pieces probably did come early. So that does make sense there. I guess it would have been this Arsenal game. I don't even think they had a corner in that game. So that may be the other thing you're talking about. Yeah, I don't think they They didn't take any set pieces.
Newcastle and Everton.
Yeah, Ben Johnson wasn't in that. He was suspended for the Everton game.
Yeah.
It would have been those. Right. It would have been those two in the Newcastle game. So maybe Ben Johnson isn't as relevant as I once thought. So maybe we no longer have to talk about Ben Johnson. But talking about forward here, Ryan, I think this is
might. He's 3,300, and if he plays at midfield at home against Brentford, it's still probably fine. But
yeah. With no set pieces, maybe not as much.
We'll see.
Yeah. So when I started writing my article with this slate, I looked at it. I looked at projections, and I called this a great projection slate. Is kind of what I said to myself, and I think that's mainly because we have. Let's see. So we have Haaland's 11.2K, but okay, let's just say he doesn't start. We have De Bruyne at 11.6K, Cunha at 10.8K, and Bomo 10.6K. Foden probably not going to start at 10.4. Wissa 10.2. Iwobi at 10K. Marmoush is 98. Savinho 96. So we have what 6, 7, 8 possible starters who are all 10K range, which we don't. When was the last time you've actually seen this on a Premier League slate? Like the prices have been so reduced lately. Like we had Salah at like 9,600 home against Southampton a month ago. Like we haven't really had to deal with this. So now we have to actually deal with prices. We have to have strategy of what guys you want to play to an extent. I mean, obviously your De Bruyne stand out a little more than the rest.
It's really interesting though. No, you're right. We haven't seen this slate like this in a while. Like De Bruyne has been like 9K on these slates. Like, all the guys you mentioned too are decent plays, and you can't play them all, or even you have to fade a lot of them. So like a projection slate, meaning it's kind of an interesting way to put it. Like, who do you pick and in which positions and where do you punt? Because there's mid-range mids that take sets. There's Bernardo Silva for 3,800. There's guys like Cunha and Mbomo. If you dare go away from City.
If you dare go away from City.
Hopefully Haaland doesn't start, like you said. Pep. I saw Pep's press conference, and it's Pep, but yeah, he made it sound like he wouldn't be that surprised if he started. Yeah,
it's always hard to say. I mean, Pep's rolled out some weird lineups lately.
Can you start KDB and Haaland for 11-2 and 11-6? You can, but you'd have to make some sacrifices.
Yeah, I don't actually know if Haaland would be worth it with the start, but
not for me. But I know other people. He could. First half hat trick is in play.
So let's get to forward here. The couple guys that stand out. I guess I'll give a couple guys here. So it's not surprising. Jeremy Doku is a little cheaper than those other guys he plays. Okay, he's one of the only Manchester City attackers who is not in that 10K range. He's 7,900, so I think he stands out. He went close to 90 minutes last game, which is another boost to him. So we also have Raul Jimenez home against Everton. His goal odds are about the same as Doku's. I guess they changed a little bit. We got plus 175 now. It was plus 160, I think, yesterday. So that's kind of interesting. But Jimenez, we got a couple of Brighton guys that are seemingly always hit or miss. And then once you get cheaper, Hutchinson, Dwight McNeil's in there. And then I guess there's a conversation here. Omar Marmoush. I think he's just off as long as De Bruyne starts, like Marmoush is no longer a cash option. Those are kind of the options. Who else are we looking at here?
Man, pretty good job. I don't have much to add to that. Nope. Doku's the City option, clearly, because of the price. Marmoush had like 2 floor points at home against Wolves last week or something. I mean,
he's had like no floor points the last 3 games.
Yeah, and now we got Haaland back, which brings some minutes concern into play. So yeah, not going to do that. You're going to play Doku if you want City. And then the guys you said, Raul Jimenez, pretty cheap, pretty good matchup, and Muniz is out. Jimenez has been playing like 85 plus minutes. So I think that's fine. The last 2 games he's actually shown a pretty wild floor.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's fine. Pretty good matchup, actually. And And then Omari, like you said, I think that's fine too. And then for the same price, didn't mention it for lineups, but might get a Willian start here, splitting sets. And I think he'd be very popular if that happened for 5,500. I could see them starting Willian at home, not really on the road. Just kind of makes sense the way things are going. So yeah, those guys, the guys you said, and Willian if he starts.
Willian at 5,500 minutes concerns.
Yeah, it's because he's just too cheap, I think. Yeah, definitely minutes concerns, but splitting sets and home against Everton, I think, is still a cash play. Like, it's better than Hutchinson. So
okay, that's what I was going to ask.
And I like Hutchinson, but you'd have to say Williams the better play, I think. Just better team and
I almost like Hutchinson more.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but like for cash, I think Williams still has a higher floor. I mean, don't you?
Yeah, he has the higher floor, but I mean, we're just looking at 60, 70 minutes. I think is kind of what it comes down to.
He's got upside too, though. Again, you could play either guy, but
so if he starts, then one of these guys will be coming off the bench. Yeah, I like whoever doesn't start, Pereira, Smith Rowe.
Oh, Wilson, right.
And then Adama as well. Yeah, I mean, Hutchinson first game back, I think it was, or maybe second game back, he went 90 in that game. Like this Brentford team is just free rolling. They're just going for it. Like we saw the Manchester United game. I think they started this season, just all these games, goals. And if there's one game to be, 3-4 again, it would be this Brentford game. But I also think like
all their attackers out.
You said this last week or 2 weeks ago. So in CISO, like Chaplin, Chaplin started every game last season for him. He's just been hurt. Hutchinson, Delap, Wananote's back from his concussion.
I'm saying this as like a boost to Hutchinson. There's 4 guys out that play his position: Philogene, Ogbeni, Broadhead, Burns, Smodix. That's 5 guys out that play.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why he went 90 last week.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
And I think, I don't know, the way that Ipswich have been playing in a lot of these games, they've been really unpredictable. They've had like these ugly games where they're terrible. But so they had it wasn't the nutty. I'm missing a game here. So Ipswich had the red card game against Newcastle. They probably should have scored the opener at Newcastle. They were maybe outplaying them for the first 30 minutes of that game. And then they gave up one shot to Everton in the second half. They were getting dominated by Everton in the first half. Then in the second half, they were the better team at Everton. I think they're going to score like multiple games at home against Brentford in the spot.
Yeah, look at the total. If it was a couple, I mean, that's way higher than you would than it would be if this game happened like 2 months ago. Yeah, for sure. They're out of the league. They're out of the division at home. Like, I couldn't agree more. It's time to let it fly and try to score goals, and might get scored on a few times for sure.
So that's our long way of saying Hutchinson at 5,400 and Delap at 4,400 are pretty good tournament plays.
Yeah.
And
Brentford have been really good though recently too. You could, better than I've ever seen them.
They've been good. I think someone gave us a stat. They're the best set piece defense in the league, but that doesn't mean they are, not allowing goals.
Look at their team. They have a lot of good players. I've seen Norgard mentioned in a bunch of lists as one of the players of the season, kind of surprising. But obviously Damsgaard's been great, and Bomo's been great. Wissa.
I'd give it to KLP just for playing out of position for the entire season.
Our boy KLP's been good. Sade showing up a few games.
Yeah, Sade, great tournament play last. Again, where he's going to be a talking point again, but I think as we look at forward here, getting back to this Cunha, I think if Cunha was, closer to 98, 90 in the 9K range, Iwobi another in the 9K range, they'd be more in the conversation. But, at their prices at 10K, I just can't. You can't really find the room to be like, yeah, I'm going to play 10K for one of these guys in a okay matchup. Not smash spot by any means, but when you have these other players, when you have Jimenez going close to 90 minutes and Doku, if Doku doesn't start, then I guess it's going to be another conversation. So if Doku doesn't start, and let's say it's what I guess Holland or Savinho. So if Doku doesn't start, I'm not sure what the strategy is. What would be a move here?
You can just go down to Raul. You can go down to Raul Jimenez.
Okay, but yeah, who would your other forward be? We haven't really mentioned Dwight McNeil at 6,500.
Yeah, he's the same as Jimenez, right? Pick whichever one you want.
And then you're just saying, okay, I'll play Holland or Savinho.
No, then I'll play Willian or Hutch.
Okay. Okay. Complete fade there. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing, you can get up to Cunha if you want to like swap 8 Nari for Ben Johnson or something.
Yeah. Yeah, if you need to do that, we'll have an 8 Nari conversation. We'll get there. I think this is a perfect spot for a Danny Welbeck. 20-pointer. He's 5,900. I think I played him on the last 2 slates, and he's done absolutely nothing. So it's a perfect spot for him to produce.
Good tournament play.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we're looking at for forward here. As I scroll down the list, I guess what did Connor Chaplin do last week? Not much. 68 minutes, 1.3 points. I guess maybe if you're on a Ipswich and want a little different option than Hutchinson and Delop, I guess. I don't know why he's actually listed as a forward. I feel like I guess he hasn't really played, so we don't know, but I feel like he's been a midfielder before, but either way, he is listed as a forward at 3,500.
And he's min price, so
why not?
I would maybe play him.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see what that lineup and bench looks like.
Could it be in the cash combo at that price, actually?
Yeah, I'm a little worried about that 38 minutes. I'd have to double check who actually subbed on for him. Can't remember exactly, but
doesn't matter. Like,
yeah,
playing them just
70 minutes,
whatever,
hoping for 5 points and maybe a goal contribution.
You're hoping for big scores from whoever you played.
Yeah,
for the reason you played Chaplin. Yeah,
you play Chaplin if Holland starts and you play him, kind of a thing.
Right, or if somebody that plays like KDB and Mbomo, then you play Chaplin.
That as well. Speaking of KDB 11.6K, and let's see, he was not in. So I built 150 lineups for the pasty guy projections, for floor projections. He was only in 97% of lineups. So 3% of lineups, KDB did not make it. So sorry about that one. Doku was 100%. I will say that. So KDB 11.6K, not too surprising. You don't want to fade him here, but next up is going to be more of a talking point because I think there's a lot of options. We've already been asked a question, Matthew, how popular would 3,800's Bernardo Silva be? If he starts, I don't know. I don't think Ryan's going to know either. That's a pretty good question. We have Enciso at 5,700. We have Matt O'Reilly 5,100, and then Bernardo Silva. I think those are the main 3 guys. Of course, we have Mbomo at 10.6K, but I'm not sure he's going to be in that initial conversation. Gundogan is 5,800, kind of like almost, why play Gundogan if Bernardo Silva is 3,800 is kind of what my thought process is there. But I don't think with how lineups are being built for what these projected lineups are, again, with Doku and that kind of thing, maybe Doku doesn't start and things mix things up, but I don't think you need to go all the way down for Bernardo Silva. And I think that you're fine with O'Reilly and Enciso as 2 better plays. What is your thoughts on that situation?
I could go either way on it. I think the price is annoying. I wish He's underpriced. I wish they made him more expensive.
Like, why isn't he the same as
It's really
Gundogan at a
stupid.
minimum?
Yeah, because it's a matchup against Southampton, so I kind of think he's going to be chalk. I agree, though. I'd like to play, and in CISO 5,700, that's a pretty good price. Matt O'Reilly 5,100, that's a pretty good price. But like, it's funny, O'Reilly doesn't even have that high of a floor. Just the way Brentford play, even with his like majority slash, maybe possible monopoly of sets. Like, no one plays O'Reilly more than me, and I'm going to play him here. But really, what Adam, like, can we play Enciso, O'Reilly, and Bernardo?
Sorry,
What
I
I'm
mentioned
saying is,
Buonanotte earlier. He's not on. He's on Leicester.
maybe you meant Enciso.
Yeah, I was mistaken. I mentioned him at the top of the show, but yeah,
like,
go on.
What I'm saying is there's a bunch of good mids on this slate that are, way cheaper than KDB, and there's not that many cheap forwards. So, like, really, the optimal strategy could be play the best 3 cheap mids so you can play the best forwards who will be lower owned. So, like, I think fading KDB actually looks like a great strategy in tournaments. He's a lock for cash games, but I mean, the midfield position's loaded. And what if you just started with Enciso as your most expensive one? You can play Cunha and Doku or Holland if he starts, or whoever else you can spend up for 2 defenders. But yeah, I mean, KDB's a great play too. I'm going to play KDB.
Looking at the Ipswich Town bench, there's just not much. So Hurst will come on for Delop. We know that. And then it was Jack Clark who came on for Connor Chaplin. And then they don't really have anyone else. I think this Boniface guy he's like 18 or something. I don't think he's going to get minutes. So I think the minute situation looks good there for Enciso is kind of what I was digging through. Yeah, I mean, fading KDB in tournaments just makes sense. He's going to be what, 70, 80% probably? And
no, but yeah, I know what you mean.
All right, 60%, 50%.
Yeah.
Maybe depends if Holland starts. It might switch a little bit there. But yeah, I mean, it's okay. Man City get 4 goals and they get 2 corners, and De Bruyne's floor isn't great. He doesn't make the score sheet, and it's the other guys that are making the score sheet kind of a thing.
I mean, really, like, what if you went into the slate like knowing KDB was going to score 17 points? Like, that's not going to be optimal.
Then you'd
often in tourneys, right? But it's still like
fade him in tournaments.
You still want him in cash.
If I knew KDB was getting 17 and I know Obama was getting 40, I'd play in Boma.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to. Other options. I guess I'll follow up what you said about Matt Riley. You said his floor wasn't great with the way that they play, but he completely busted against Newcastle. But they scored that early goal and they didn't really do anything the rest of the way. It's like Newcastle got that late equalizer. It was at Newcastle. I think it was at Newcastle. No matter where it was at, like they didn't really do much offensively. They weren't like pressing. It wasn't like. But he's had 10-point floors roughly in prior games when he's going 63, 70, 65 minutes. And now if he's going over 80 minutes.
Yes. Okay. If you bump the minutes up.
Against Wolverhampton, and we know how Wolverhampton play. Wolverhampton aren't going to be like,
bump minutes up.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, the numbers against Palace, though, in Leicester, 7.5 and 70, 6.5 and 63, like, that's not good enough for an center attacking player with a monopoly of set pieces who like for a favored team. Like, you should be filling it up more than that. I like O'Reilly, but I'm just saying. I think that's, I don't know.
Yeah, you add 10, 15 minutes to that and you're at 10 points. He averages 10.57 floor per 90.
Yeah, no, I'm in on O'Reilly. I think it's too cheap.
In classic Ryan Belongia fashion, I'll just say he should have scored multiple times in many of those games. He just didn't do it. He hit the post. He's due. He's due for a goal.
That's when I played him. Nobody played him those times either.
Now he's going to score when you don't play him because you're talking bad on him.
I'm going to play him. I like O'Reilly. He's been really unlucky.
Other players in the conversation, because there are some other players here. Harry Wilson is 8,200. If Andres Pereira doesn't start, I think Harry Wilson has majority accepts. Is that right?
Really, what it is Adam, it's I'm annoyed because the first time I made the lineup and I see O'Reilly 51.
We're back on O'Reilly.
Anyway, and he's a lock. Like just wow against Wolves, way too cheap. Then you go down lower, and Bernardo Silva's there for 3,800, who's just going to fall into 8 floor points if he's on the field for 90 minutes. It would be like impossible not to get that. So like you don't get that big of an advantage. That's why it's annoying that like playing O'Reilly is like not a big advantage when Bernardo's sitting there with like guaranteed floor and assist upside. That's what's annoying about Bernardo's price, because it makes it like you need like big scores from these other guys.
Possible,
yeah. Or Bernardo can score like 4. We've seen that too. But like looks.
He may not even start. He just got his 400th appearance. Maybe he won't start.
Hopefully not.
I guess he took a couple corners. I guess I'd kind of overlook that as well.
I mean, he'd be like the most popular player on the slate.
Yeah. I'm going to fade him. I don't care. I'm going to fade him.
You see what I'm saying, though?
I guess what it comes down to, what are you spending on if you are paying for Bernardo?
Well, I mean, KDB costs a lot. And like
it'd be getting a better goalkeeper, and at that point, I don't know.
Better defenders too.
You can't project goalkeeper anyway, so you're gonna pay up at goalkeeper and get the incorrect option.
No, I want better defenders, and I don't want to have to play Connor Chaplin.
Okay, let's. Any thoughts? I was gonna move on to defender. Any thoughts on Harry Wilson here? Well, you were stuck on.
Yeah, for tournaments.
Okay.
He can score a brace. I don't think he'll be really owned.
I think he would be interesting in cash games if Pereira was out again.
Yeah, but again, like you have to play him over one of these guys. He's just not a better play than Enciso for the money, or than O'Reilly for the money, or than yeah, sure, good luck, but yeah, I don't like. That's why the pricing is kind of annoying.
So for defender, you mentioned Aitnery 6,300. Are you in a situation where you can't fade Aitnery? Is that what your mindset is?
No, because like pricing's tough. So like if you want certain guys, again, like if you just play the 2 guys that score 30, you don't care about Aitnery. But I kind of want to play him. Like there's value. We've talked about punting forward, these punt mids. So yeah, I like him. Got upside, got a floor. I don't think he's a lock, but he looks good. What do you think?
He looks good. He's good. Let's see.
He looks like the best defender on the slate to me. Like the Fulham guys look decent.
In terms of value, him and Ryan Manning are in the bottom 10 in terms of value.
Yeah, because of Aitnery's, like we talked about, he doesn't have a massive floor, but you get those 25-point games from him.
You think there's going to be another 25-point game here?
I mean, it just takes 1 goal. I mean, he got one against Leicester with 1 assist. 27.5 against Tottenham. I mean, he 23.5 against Tottenham. I mean, he's got it in him. I don't know if I think that there's going to be, but wouldn't surprise me.
Well, in cash games, you don't play with
Well, sometimes if a guy's 50% owned, you still have to play that way.
I think the more popular Aitnery is, the more likely I'm not going to play him.
As long as there's other decent defenders, I guess, or like
there is. That's like, what I'm saying.
Not just to do it. Okay, so is Kenny Tete the first guy in?
So the Fulham guys are both sub. So we actually have. So Anthony's 5,200. Estupinian is 4,500, and Tete is 4,400. I like on the value basis, all those guys are better than Aitnery.
Yeah, well, Estupiñan's not, but not if O'Reilly's in there.
Yeah,
I hear you though.
we've been saying that, but we look at Estupiñan's numbers the last couple games.
One good
And
game.
we know he has these games in him though. We can't be like, oh, one good game. Like this is
No. Look, keep scrolling down. He's under 5 points so many times. He's under 10 points so many times. I mean, that's fine. Like, play Estupiñan, but he has like 3 points in him. Too many times. Like, he's fine, but
I just like the matchup. Wolverhampton aren't going to be in possession. They don't like to play with the ball, and I think Brighton are going to get the 4 points in this game.
Okay, I don't mind it. I mean, like, he's cheap now at least. I just I was considering him until I saw Tete.
Yeah, I think both those guys can be played.
Yeah, I think you could play them both. We pretty much agree. I mean, I said at the start, like, Aït-Nouri's not a lock. We say all the time that he doesn't have a massive floor.
So it seems like we're gonna get Chalk Bernardo and Chalk Aït-Nouri because those guys go hand in hand, I think. Because you play a Bernardo means you can't spend up at defender.
I don't know. Kind of. Yeah. I kind of see it as more like Bernardo goes hand in hand with like KDB and a City forward. And then like decide. But yeah, Bernardo gets to Aït-Nouri too. I don't know.
What are your thoughts on Michael Coyote, the Brentford fullback who has maybe I don't know if it's been measured, maybe the longest throw in the league. He's basically anytime they're up near the attacking third, they get a throw in. He's on both sides. That's resulted in shots assisted continually, and he's 4,200. What are your thoughts on this? At Ipswich,
Yeah.
I don't normally play players because this guy has a long throw in, but I think it was what was it? Wrexham's first season. They had some guy who I don't know if you watched that show, but they had some guy who just launched throw-ins in, and he was like one of their best options of actually creating chances in front of net, which was kind of funny. But that's kind of what this seems like.
I remember Rory Delap, who started it all for Stoke City. Also, Liam Delap's dad, Rory Delap. The king of the long throw. Coyote. I was looking for him. I was hoping he'd be a little cheaper. But the matchup's good. I was hoping he'd be a little bit cheaper, but he's supposedly pretty good. Isn't he on loan from like Juve or something, or some Italian team? But he's supposed to be pretty good. I was hoping he'd be a little cheaper. He's too close to like Tete, and even I got to concede that Estupiñan is like $300 better than him for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, he's from Fiorentina, but he is on loan. Yeah. Who just lost, unfortunately, on Thursday to Betis.
That was a wild game, actually. Gosens had those 2 headers to bring him back in. That game, that was a wild game. Anthony, another amazing free kick.
Yeah, that was all the games involving Premier League teams was whatever, and then that game was pretty fun.
Yeah.
Otherwise, at defender, I don't think anything stands out. Anyone else we should mention? Nathan Patterson was getting love against Ipswich. Now he's at Fulham.
Really just, your boy Ben Johnson.
Right, Ben Johnson, if he starts.
Yeah.
Ben Johnson, 3,300.
If he starts as a right midfielder, it can't be that bad.
I think that's the only place he's going to start, it seems.
Well, Adam, we just talked about this game going like 4-3, didn't we?
Yeah, I
Don't you want the right midfielder in that game? I mean, isn't he just Connor Chaplin? How is he not Connor Chaplin?
I'm not playing Ben Johnson without subs.
Okay.
I'm not having this conversation.
No,
I'll let all the other touts come on here. Come on, go tout Bernardo and Ben Johnson.
Look at that game against Chelsea.
I'm gonna fade. I'm gonna fade
5
these
shots
guys.
assisted at Chelsea. Adam, remember that game at Chelsea?
Yeah, I know. I know all these games. I don't have to look
Yeah.
at them. I know all about Ben Johnson. All right. I've
Okay.
been we're good. We're good at defender here. Jacob Greaves, cheapest fullback, 2,500. Twanzebe, if he starts, 2,500 as well. So those are your cheapest fullbacks if that's the game that you play.
I would rather go
Goalkeeper,
to Adam. I think at that point you just find the 200 and get to the suddenly underpriced Joa Constrictor.
he hasn't been a talking point for a while. Has he done anything?
Nobody. I finally see him not 3,800.
Okay, 4 shots last couple of games.
Look at that.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. He's been sub 3K for like almost a couple months here. We just haven't
Oh,
really
maybe I
talked about
missed
him.
that then.
We've been off on center. We haven't really discussed center backs because it's been pointless with how things are going. I think that's the main reason we haven't talked about
I think
him.
you're right.
There's just been,
There's always cheap fullbacks or too good of fullbacks to play.
Yeah, and I think most of the slates we talk about like has these defenders. Like Aiton Ree's been in almost all the slates we're talking about. So I think that's kind of taking the conversation. Goalkeeper might be interesting. I'm not sure what my final take is going to be, but we have 44% chance for a clean sheet for Manchester City out at Southampton. Their defense has been pretty successful lately. It seems like they allow a couple good chances every game, and lately the other team hasn't been converting them. So you could definitely see Southampton converting one of those, but Ederson is 6K. And I just saw, so he has 4 assists this season, and the Premier League has a record for goalkeeper assists this season, which is a pretty crazy stat.
But that has to be a record, right?
Yeah. Well, overall goalkeeper assists is at a record as well. And I assume 4 for Ederson is a record too.
Wow.
So crazy number.
Does that increase his projection?
Not for me. Maybe for Roto.
Is that baked in? Are those 4 assists baked into his projection?
Probably for RotoWire projection. I haven't looked at those. Let me look at it.
Okay.
Let me look. So we also have Brentford 33%. I'm not playing Flecken. Okay, I'm off.
Nope,
Flecken.
me either.
That means he's probably going to get a clean sheet and 5 saves, but it is what it is. Fulham are home against Everton 38%. What is your goalkeeper take here?
I'd be fine with playing Leno. I don't know if I'll have the money. I'd be fine with playing the Ipswich keeper. What is he, 4K? Palmer's 4K. Obviously your boy Pickford in the lowest total. I think he'll end up being popular. People just fade Fulham and play Pickford. Pickford, Palmer. I don't really want to go down to Ramsdale, but can't really argue against it. That's my take. I hate goalkeeper.
So I looked, I don't even know if I should say this, but I looked at the projections and not the passing guy projections, just the projections. 0.04 assists for Ederson, 5.72 saves, and the projection is like 17 points.
He's a lock then. I'm playing Ederson.
Okay, I'll move on from that. I don't want to talk about that. Yeah, so I think a question, because we have money, because we need to spend money, I think a big question will be, I guess you'll have Ramsdale at 3,600, Palmer at 4K, and Pickford at 4,200. I guess if you go Bernardo and don't spend an 8 maybe you can play Ederson.
You can
find a way around that. So it depends what you want to do in that situation. But do you have a favorite of those 3 underdogs there from the 3 I mentioned?
Palmer, I guess.
Palmer. That was my least favorite one.
That's okay. Yeah. It's goalie, dude.
I'll say Pickford. Fulham have had a lot of games where they're racking up shots on target, and
that seems like the smart one.
They're struggling to score.
Smarter choice.
Yeah, and then Ramsdale, just know going in, you have the potential for -4 points and the potential of 8 points. So just know what you're dealing with when you're going there. Tournaments, Ryan, there's one player that is the most obvious tournament option on the slate. Plugged in my projections, 51%, an extreme amount. I wonder how popular he's going to be. Do you know who I'm thinking about right now?
What position?
Midfield. We've already mentioned him, so.
Mbomo?
No, it is his teammate, Kevin Schad, is 6,100. And where is he? Plus 190. Okay, that's okay. But he's 6,100. Guy, 3 goals last couple games. We've seen his upside multiple times throughout the season. Minutes are a concern, which is, one of the reasons you don't play him. But against Ipswich Town for Brentford, he also allows you to spend up on other players. It's I don't know. It's not much to say other than he's cheap and he has brace potential.
It's a good take. He's going to be low owned. Kind of why I guess like Mbomo, same kind of thing. Like, yeah, I agree that those Brentford guys are good plays. I mean, Wissa, really nobody's going to click Wissa.
Do you think you don't think Shad's not going to be like at least 10%?
Oh yeah, no, he will be that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. I just like
Wissa will probably
be that popular
5.
because yeah. I just mean like people are obviously going to play Enciso more than Shad and O'Reilly and Bernardo Silva.
Yeah, I think fading O'Reilly in tournaments is great. Yeah, Wolves aren't really allowing too many goals lately. So for tournaments, we fade the Wolves Brighton game. We fade.
Now we're fading Brighton. I thought this is a good spot.
You mean Welbeck? I'm saying for tournaments, it's a good spot for cash games. I'm not saying they're going to score. I'm saying they're going to have 15 shots. And you could play Welbeck because he's going to be like one of these 5% guys, I think. And he's another guy. He's in the same price range as Shad is, where we know he has brace potential. He hasn't really shown it lately. People are going to look at other options. He's on the road. I mean, I think it's as simple as that for a lot of these options. Yeah, I'd rather play Welbeck than I don't know.
How much Beto are you going to play?
I haven't thought too much about Everton, but maybe I should.
Okay, no, fair. No Everton. Like who didn't we mention, right? Like, Welby's too expensive. Yeah, I think we like.
So a couple weeks ago, we mentioned we want to play these guys who are going 90 minutes, but maybe should we just ignore that? What is your strategy? Because I seem to after the slate, I'm always like, I shouldn't worry about minutes. But every time I go on the show, it's like, well, I'd rather play a guy who plays 90 minutes. But then we see Beto go 70, get a brace. We see Shaw go 70 minutes, get a brace.
Yeah.
What should we worry about?
I'm not really thinking about that here, but not nearly as much. Mm-hmm. But in general, for sure, though, like on these smaller slates and showdown slates, it's like paramount. I'm just thinking back to these recent Champions League games and Europa games. I mean, you're definitely looking for that. But yeah, and then on these 4-game slates, not so much, especially when it's not as predictable, like you said. I mean, you can't really predict the City subs at this point. But in terms of like Enciso versus O'Reilly, I don't know. You might feel safer about Enciso, kind of know he's going to go 90 and maybe O'Reilly won't. But I don't know, Adam. I wouldn't worry about it for tournaments.
Mm-hmm. So how much KDB are you going to have in tournaments?
I mean, it depends how many lineups I play.
Are you fading Man City for the final King of the Pitch ticket? Tell everyone your strategy.
I don't think. No, I will probably play KDB in that. Maybe that will convince some other people not to. But I don't think you need to fade him in that. It's like 21 people that I can get like different enough, and like in those kind of tournaments, I feel like KDB scores you like 18, you're still okay if he's like massive chalk.
In that 21-person contest, what do you think the Bernardo Silva percentage will be? 50?
Maybe not though. You can do the other thing. That contest is like. I was just gonna say like Mbomo won't be that popular and Cunha won't be that popular. So if you fade KDB, it'd be for one of those guys. Bernardo, yeah, he'll be really popular. I don't know though. We have those other cheap set takers. It'll be interesting to see, but I would think 50%. I would think.
Yeah, roughly around there.
I really don't know though. I get ownership wrong all the time. It's whoever gets touted in Discords and stuff, who's ever in cores.
Yeah, who's ever in the Discords.
It's not as obvious because we have those other 5K guys. So there is some type of decision.
Yeah, the one game, I guess it is. So 2.54 low implied goal total is pretty low here for Fulham Everton.
Like, just think if it was Man City against Fulham or something, and Bernardo was 3,800. Would we even care about him? Just play O'Reilly and Enciso. That's why it's kind of weird. It's really the matchup that pushes it way over the top.
Yeah, that's kind of my thoughts. It's like Bernardo's not how many times Bernardo's been he's turned into an afterthought with this Man City team in terms of DFS.
Right. It's only the Southampton that makes it a talking point.
Mm-hmm. And which is fair. They've been pretty bad. And then if you get some sets in there, and then yeah.
Right. I mean, Leicester's whole team just got there against them, basically.
That's not good.
Nope.
Stop giving reasons to play Bernardo. So let's find another $3,800 player that you can play who's going to score a goal instead of Bernardo. This is tough.
Joe Gomez.
Nathan Collins. Got it. Oh, your guy Joe? Where's he at?
Joe's a baller.
3,900. Okay.
I don't know. I started grinding interleague already.
Started grinding interleague. Before we go, give me the one game I don't have thoughts on: Fulham against Everton.
My thoughts on Fulham Everton? Is it sorry?
Do you think it's going to?
I think Fulham are gonna win here. I don't know. It just feels that way to me.
2-0, 2-1.
I don't know, man. You're asking the wrong guy. Especially these. I think teams are going to beat Everton and then they win 1-0 too. So that's in play. Like you said with Pickford.
You're a big Nottingham Forest guy. I see. Very well. All right, I think that's all we got. I'm fading Bernardo. He's going to get 20. Going to lose everything, but you know what? It's just a game. It's just a game. None of this matters. Fade Ben Johnson. Fade everyone. We're going for 6 goals. I'm betting over 5.5 goals in Brentford Ipswich. Let's win money. If you're still listening to this, we got a betting show coming up in an hour. Me and Chris Owen. We got 6 bets, 6 more bets for everyone. Check that out. But Ryan, thank you for joining me today. One more Saturday left. Then we have the final Sunday. ROTO 15% off over at rotowire.com. Thank you for listening. Make sure to hit us up in the Discord with any more questions. Good luck, Ryan, on the final King of the Pitch ticket.
Thanks, Adam. Good luck, everybody.